Okay. All right. Do we have time for some questions?
Yeah, please. Yeah, it's time for some questions. You know, we may not see Rex until next year this time, so please ask some questions, the hardest ones. Yeah.
My name is Barış Gübüler. You several times talked about skills, and you said we have the skills, we know what to do, what we want to do.
Well, we don't necessarily have the skills.
Yeah, that's my question.
Yeah.
Which skills should a tester have? You talk about reducing risks in early phases, for example, by simulation,
Yeah.
or also other techniques like formal verification, some analyzing for deadlocks or other purposes. Can we need testers? Which skills do we need as testers?
Yeah, the specific set of skills that you're going to need will tend to vary from one project to the next, depending on the technology and the application domain and the kind of testing that you're doing, right? So the way you determine that is it's referred to as a job analysis or a task analysis, where you go through and you look at what are the different tasks that you as a tester or your test team will have to carry out during this project. And then you ask yourself, what skills would a tester need to have in order to do that? So if, for example, in your project, your performance is a big risk, so you want to do a lot of performance simulation early in the project, then you need to have somebody in the project who understands how to do performance simulation, right? So that's a critical skill on your project. So I think you need to do that analysis to determine what the skills are. Now, some of this stuff I think is clear. You know, as Ray mentioned, I've invested a lot of my own personal time and energy in the ISDQB program as a volunteer, because I do believe that there are core fundamental ideas that are reflected in the foundation and the advanced syllabus that every tester should know. So I think that stuff is easy. You don't need to do a complex task analysis to know that every tester on your team at least ought to be able to understand things like boundary value analysis and how to write a bug report and how testing fits into the software development lifecycle process and so on. But I think, you know, if you're a test manager or a quality assurance manager, you do need to go through this process of assessing the skills of your team and what skills they really need to have, and you know, having the discipline to manage that, manage the skills growth of your team. But yeah, I want to be clear. When I said we know how to do this stuff, what I meant was that all of the things that I talked about are pretty well understood of why they're important. Now, knowing that we need to do things and having the skills to be able to do them are two different things. So, you know, that's why, you know, we have to build those skills within our teams. But none of the stuff that I talked about is a mystery. You know, it's just discipline and doing it.
Any other question?
Yeah.
My name is Musa Gixuloglu. In your presentation, you mentioned about employees walking out of the company, with their experience. And what do you think about changing project members during a project? What's your experience about? What do you think about it? Is it something good, or so we avoid that in projects, changing project members because of the experience? Thank you.
Thanks, good question. Obviously, there are some situations where you've got somebody on the project who needs to not be on the project for one reason or another. This isn't always a skills issue, though it can be. Sometimes it's an attitude issue. You know, somebody's just they're a problem. They're a source of contention and difficulty within the project. They need to be removed from the project. But anytime you do that, you remove somebody, then you bring someone new in, you know, and this goes all the way back to Fred Brooks and the Mythical Man Month. You know, that person who's been brought in now doesn't know the project. They don't know what they're doing, and they can't contribute on the first day, right? So there's a ramp-up period. And this Tom DeMarco concept that I talked about, he said, A simple way of doing this is assume that on the first day that somebody starts on a project, they are 0% effective. In other words, they can't contribute anything, right? And then there's a ramp-up period, and at the end of that ramp-up period, they're 100% effective. So you can assume if it's a straight line ramp-up, on average, that person is 50% effective. So let's say that the ramp-up period is 3 months. It takes 3 months for a new person brought onto a project to become 100% effective, okay? So during that 3-month period, that person's gonna work 3 months, right? So now we have 3 person months of effort that person is putting in. But in terms of effective effort, we only actually get 1.5 person months of work out of that person, because on average, they were 50% effective. And again, this isn't my concept. This is a Tom DeMarco thing. I remember reading it in this book and thinking, that's just brilliant. It's just a brilliant way of thinking about it. And so you are effectively reducing the staff level of your project team invisibly when turnover occurs within the project team during the project. And then this leads to Fred Brooks' observation in the Mythical Man Month, which is sometimes referred to as Brooks' Law. Adding more people to a late project makes it even later, because those people don't add anywhere near the kind of effort you think they're going to add. They have to be ramped up, and who's ramping them up? Other members of the project team. So the net effective staff level of your project team when you add somebody goes down. You know, if you just look at the head count, you go, oh, you know, head count went up. Or if you replace somebody, you go, the head count stayed the same. Well, the head count stayed the same. But remember, this is brain work that we're doing. This is not shoveling sand. You know, shoveling a big pile of sand, the more people you put around the pile of sand with shovels, the faster the level of the sand goes down, right? But that's not what we're doing. And we make the mistake as managers in software projects of assuming that we're doing something that's like shoveling sand. We gotta get out of that mindset. And again, this is not a mystery. This is Fred Brooks' Mythical Man Month, published in 1975. I've been in this business a while, but I wasn't even in this business in 1975. You know, so this is stuff that we know. We just need to be disciplined. And we need to look at turnover as a symptom of a problem that is going to corrode the effectiveness and efficiency of our teams. And that's, I think, the way that we ought to see it. Thanks for that question. I love getting into that topic. This is such a critical